Hello everybody out there, and welcome back to another comic book review. Huge apologies, we are really sorry. This is another really late episode, and this time it was due to outside sources. Unfortunately, the mail decided to come really late, and we got our books on Monday, and as you guys can see, it's a big pile, so it took a while to read. And plus we had some indie physical, I could talk, indie physical books that we had to read also. So that kind of took up a bit of time. So unfortunately, due to the mail, we are late again. This week already, it's Friday we're recording this on. This will be up on Saturday morning. We did not get our comics. I'm praying by Saturday morning that we will have our comics. And we will be able to start reading them as soon as possible. So we're able to do the indie review, if not Saturday, Sunday, and the big two review, if not Sunday, Monday. So at least everything will be on time. You know, we're fighting because this is episode 94, meaning there's only 6 more episodes until 300. And the main theme for 300 is going to be changes. I will say that much. I mean,
you don't have nothing to say about the picture?
No, I did. I said it was normal, an average picture. Nothing really scary this time.
Okay.
Very good. Good pick this time.
Or funny-ish.
Yeah, good pick this time. Yeah. Good pick.
I'm gonna get it.
So, really quickly, news-wise, we didn't do Dark Avenger Live, obviously, because we had to finish reading our books to do this review tonight. There's going to be a surprise outside the pages I'm going to be filming. That will not be out until Tuesday afternoon-ish, give or take. It will be up on Tuesday. There's a reason for that, and I'm not going to discuss it at this time yet. It was impromptu outside the pages, and if you didn't see this past week's outside the pages, I urge you to. It really explains a lot about what's been going on the past 9 to 12 months. I'm really looking forward to what's going to be coming after 300. There's going to be huge announcements. This channel is going to go through a revolutionary change, and it's going to be fun for not only my channel, but for all channels that I'm involved with, because it's going to conjoin, it's going to link up with everything, and everything is going to play a part with this channel, as well as those channels will be playing a part with this channel, and it's going to be a lot of fun, and I think it's going to be great. But for right now, the books in this review were released on
June 17, 2015.
Right, so let's get through these books and pray that we get our other books. Now, there's 2 #1s this week. And I was warned about this book, but I had to try Doomed issue #1. This book really just did not hold my interest whatsoever. You know, the whole shtick was this person somehow contracts the Doomsday virus or becomes a deadly foe. You know, he becomes like Doomsday. And this had, and I have to agree with Kat and a few other people, I think Jay also mentioned it, this reminded me way too much of the season on Smallville. I think it was season 8 with Doomsday, with the guy that had the Doomsday. Yeah, that was a really, that season had its ups and downs. 8 and 9 for me, well, 7 and 8, I'm sorry. 7 and 8 really had me worried that those were going to be the last seasons we had of Smallville. And luckily we got through 9, and the people on CW gave us season 10. But this guy gets a job at Stars Labs. He's stupid. The guy is actually stupid. And he's cleaning up this toxic waste, and he decides to take his helmet off because it's too hot, and, well, apparently that's how he contracts the virus, and then later on, basically, this happens to him. The book ends, or begins where it ends, basically. And I don't know if I'm coming back for the next issue. There's a lot of stuff that we're getting right now from Marvel, a lot of new #1s coming out of DC, and a lot of stuff coming really soon. You know, a lot of news is breaking about the all-new, all-different Marvel that we're going to be getting in November. And, you know, looking into the future, this is definitely just not a book. I mean, I looked into future issues. I went all the way through previews till, I believe it was September, and I don't... I don't see myself with this book. I mean, I tried it because, you know, it did mention Superman a bit, it did mention the Link, but it just, I couldn't get into it. It was definitely not a book I could get into, and this character is just not somebody I feel like I can really sink my teeth into. Not with all the other stuff that we've got going on in DC, in Marvel, in all the other companies, with all the other books we read. So, this is going to be a pass for me. Would I recommend trying it? If you're looking for something different, something new, give it a shot. But for me, I think I'm done. This was going to be my book before
Yeah.
Mike chose it, but you probably saw because it was on top of the pile. I had to give it to Michael because I didn't like it at all. Starting with the artwork,
Well, I agree
couldn't
with
get
you.
through the story.
Dr. Fate issue #1.
I thought we were going to be getting Dr. Fate from Earth 2. Apparently, this is just a Dr. Fate story.
Yeah,
period.
It's just I just couldn't stand the artwork, and it's just Khaled, who is
Khaled.
Yeah, Khaled, who is hearing the voice to accept the fate to become this Dr. Fate, and he refuses to because everything's like all crazy, and there's also a black cat that's actually.
This might actually be Earth 2, maybe before
probably,
Caleb
the
goes into
artwork-
being Dr. Fate, but I couldn't. I'm sorry, I just couldn't.
And even the story, when I was reading it, now some people like say how I like books and stuff. This one I just couldn't really like because first of all, I'm really, I just can't see this being a good book of Dr. Fate because it's just all about him becoming Dr. Fate, which he actually does become. Let's try that again. And and it's just showing that that he is Fate and he is no longer Khaled. That's Khaled immortal, just immortal, and it's just.
I couldn't get into that. I didn't even get that far. You got a lot further than I did. I had to stop. There was nothing.
I'm gonna tell you this. With the artwork that was so bad and the story that was meh, I was lucky. I fell asleep at least once because it was so boring. That's how I didn't really like this book. So for me, for Dr. Fate, it's gonna have to fade alongside and just no. I cannot stand the artwork. If the artwork changes, maybe I'll come back for the next issue. And if the story's better. This one...
I have nothing that I'm getting, that I got out of
And
this.
it's not because I don't know Dr. Fate either. I mean, I know Dr. Fate from the Justice Society.
I couldn't get into it.
It just wasn't, like...
I couldn't get into it. The artwork really took me out of the book for this book. And Doomed, it's just the whole story in general. It took these two books really just did not work for us this week as the #1s. There are other #1s coming. I think one is this week, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure, but we got a lot of #1s from Marvel and DC that we're going to be getting as time moves forward. And I guess these are the first two #1s from DC that we really just could not sink our teeth into and say these are going to be series that we're going to be.
And not because he said he just said just read this, and I'm just.
Yeah, I couldn't. I just couldn't. The rest of the DC books for me this week, I enjoyed all of them. Sinestro issue 12, Saronic is starting to fear that Sinestro is going back to his old ways, and I love how one of the Korrigarians actually said, "Is he really going back to his old ways, or have you just been blind to his ways and believed he had changed when he really didn't?" And basically, Sinestro has changed his focus. He's looking to go to war with something. And Saronic's afraid it's the Green Lanterns. However, what she doesn't know is she doesn't know that Sinestro knows something's going to happen to all the Green Lanterns. It's something that he is preparing to fight against. And then when the lights go out, he claims, he wants his light to burn bright. And then finally peace and order can come to the galaxy. So Saronic tries to betray Sinestro in a way and rescue the rest of the Korrigarians and put them on a ship because she thinks that Warworld is going to be destroyed and everybody that Sinestro tried to save is going to die, and Sinestro kind of is in between. He wants to save his people, but now he has to focus on this war that's coming, or this thing that he has to prepare for, and obviously he's preparing for that, and he's putting, again, his people on the sidelines. And there is an awesome fight between Saronic and Sinestro, and the ending was something you don't see coming, because you see the fight and Sinestro's even saying, "You think I'm doing this to humiliate you, to do all this bad stuff to you," and it's not true. What I'm trying to do is, and I'm not going to spoil the ending, we'll talk about it when Sinestro issue 13 comes out, but that was a really interesting ending, and we kind of saw a piece of this during last September's event month. So if that gives you guys any indication of what's going on with Saronic, that's what's going on. Oh yeah, this week I have Lost Green Lantern Lost Army that's coming. I did try issue 1, and I've been hearing very good things about it, so fingers crossed. Wonder Woman issue 41, you got Wonder Woman talking to Donna Troy saying, you know, what you did was horrible, you're not a monster, because Donna thinks she's a monster. She said you can do one of two things. You could stay here and be miserable for the rest of your life, or you can move forward and make something of your life instead of letting your life define you. What you've done define you. We get a little moment with Zeke. This is, I guess, a nod to the previous story arc where she was protecting Zeke because he's the next son of Zeus or whatever. And then we get the new suit. We get, I guess it's the next chapter of Wonder Woman where she says that girl is no more. I'm embracing the woman I've become. And basically the reasoning behind the new costume is she's not the girl that left that mascara. Now she's a god. She's the queen. And she wants to be a warrior for justice. Thus the explanation to the new costume. And I love how she has the collar just like Superman. So I guess anybody who has anything close to the neck gets a collar in the new DCU. But anyway, we get introduced to this character whom obviously is going to be playing into future issues. But this person knows about Diana and knows that she has all this great power, but she doesn't use it. Instead, she chooses to, as he says, she's too afraid to use it. She holds back, and he's basically vying to become the next God of War. He wants to take the God of War away from her. He wants to be the God of War. So I guess this is going to be the new hurdle for Wonder Woman. Very interesting stuff. He actually escapes Wonder Woman in this issue. Very good setup. If anything, 41 sets up for the next chapter. We got the Donna Troy story, which was an awesome chapter from the Finch's first story arc. Now we're moving on to the next one, and this was a perfect introduction to it. I know a lot of people don't like the costume. At this point, everybody, it's DC. That's really all I could say about DC Comics. It's DC at this point. They're not going to change no matter... I mean, there's a whole YouTube group dedicated to picketing against, or... not rioting, what's the word I'm looking for? That's basically against the new DC universe, and they want...
God doesn't like it.
Basically.
Yeah.
Petition against the new DCU, that was it.
Oh, okay.
Petitioning against the new... There's nothing you guys can do at this point. DC's already on their next phase. It just doesn't say New 52 anymore. Robin, Son of Batman. This I liked. That's right, this was another #1 this week. This I really liked.
Now
I
which
enjoyed
Robin
it.
Is this one?
Damian.
Okay, that's Damian. Okay.
So Bruce is gone at this point, and Damian. This is a Damian all on his own. Apparently, this is like Robin Volume 2 or 3. No, 2, because there hasn't been a Robin since the end of Tim Drake's Robin.
So that would be 2.
So this is Robin Volume 2, even though it's called Robin, Son of Batman. They're calling it Son of Batman, so they don't have to call this a Volume 2 and confuse everybody. Damian is on his own. He's, there's a premonition he has where he kind of knocks out, and apparently the year of the, oh, what was it? Where is it? The Year of Blood is coming, and Damian's cursed by his family, and we'll get into that. Also, nobody... who Damian killed way back in Batman and Robin, shows up. Not him, but it turns out nobody actually has a daughter, who finds his helmet, and inside the helmet, it has the data from where Damian shot her father. So now she's looking for revenge on Damian. Damian is looking for redemption, basically, he's killed so many people, he's had so many things that have happened with as an Al Ghul, when he was Damian Al Ghul, and then he actually says, you know, my father brought me back, he brought me to the light, he showed me that I can redeem myself, and the Year of Atonement is at hand instead of the Year of Blood. And we also we get a little insight on where Damian was when he died, and it looks like Damian didn't go to a very bright place when he died. The artwork in this book is, I believe, the same artist that was on Batman and Robin, because I feel like this artwork has, and we do get to see Talia for one page, kind of, I guess, a epilogue, so to speak, even though it doesn't say epilogue, and looks very interesting. And Nobody, the daughter of Nobody, finds Damian, and that's where we're left off. So we're going to see the daughter of Nobody versus Damian in the next issue. I'm interested. I like this. I like how they've shown how Damian has grown from when they first introduced Damian to now. And I like it. I'm really down for this series. I'm going to try the next issue again. Very good stuff. If you're a fan of Damian and you'd like to try something new, out of all the number ones this week, I would recommend Damian. And you know the irony of it all? Doomed and Dr. Fate were both $2.99 books. Robin, Son of Batman was a $3.99 book because of the extra pages. Secret Six, issue number 3. They're hiding out at I forgot what this guy's name was.
I feel like that this book's been a while.
It's been a while.
Yeah, a long while actually since the last issue. From what I remember.
Well, it's 2 days after the escape from the Cube, which the Cube was controlled by Mockingbird, and all of the Secret Six are hiding out in I forget his name. I'm trying to remember his name. Mr. Wells. I'm calling him Mr. Wells. Whatever. House. And the cover where it shows everybody having something on the couch. Yeah, apparently that did happen in the book, and it was a very interesting. Which one of you had? And everybody raises their hand. So really, it's just them establishing themselves, you know, working or as a team. They're staying at this place, and there's little sayings at the top of the pages that kind of moves the story along. Catman gets pissed off at this guy who's a police officer, but he's beating his dog, and Catman can't stand it. So he gives the guy a warning to stop, or else he's gonna make the police officer heal. He doesn't care that he's a police officer. It's just the neighborhood for the characters is too nice, and you get some really great character development in this book. I don't want to give too much away. Gail Simone's just been doing an excellent job with this book. There is a fight at the end between the police officer and Catman because the police officer's been beating up his dog again. Catman ends up taking the dog. However, there is one huge thing. We find out who Mockingbird is at the end of this issue, and somebody in the Secret Six is actually a traitor and is working for Mockingbird.
And
that's the big thing in this book. The rest of the book is just a fun read, just more character development, and you know, more fleshing out of each of the characters and them working together as a team. Wow, is all I have to say. But the last page alone was wow. Finding out who the actual traitor is, and oh wow, you actually have a number. There's two more number ones. I have to stop talking ahead of myself. Superman, Wonder Woman 18. This, even though it's connected to truth, obviously does not connect at all to action, to Superman or Superman Batman. This is its own story. Clark is with Diana at the beginning of this issue until Clark gets a phone call from Lana. Something's going on, and she's in trouble. So, of course, Clark and Diana whisk away to Smallville as quick as they can to find Lana. They get to her apartment. It's completely clean. Nothing there. So Clark goes to the two people that, from the previous Superman, I believe, story. If you guys remember the Superman story arc where they were in Smallville and all that mystical stuff was coming out of the Phantom Zone. Well, he goes to them for advice because they still have apparently their powers somehow. And a lot of people apparently have been going missing. And then one of the old men actually gives Clark his house's old mailbox. And that kind of sets him off to go to where his old farm, where his farm was. Apparently, everything that once belonged to Clark is now gone. The farm, the barn, everything, the entire Kemp farm has been uprooted and taken away. And somebody is watching on as Clark is on the farm, and it turns out one thing was left behind, and that was a bomb shelter, was it? Or a storm cellar?
Looks like a storm
I believe it was
cellar.
a storm cellar.
I mean,
Yeah, bomb shelter. And that's where Clark hid whenever any of his powers manifested or something, and he wanted to hide away from the world. And you get a lot of Clark character development in here. And then he realizes if the house or the farm was taken up and uprooted and taken away, he snaps and runs to his parents' grave, and spoiler alert, they were uprooted too. They were taken away too. And then Clark finally snaps and says, what are you waiting for? I'm standing right here. And that's when he gets greeted by a group of people. And I have to show this last page, though, because this artwork on this last page was awesome. Where Clark tells these people, who I'm not spoiling till the next issue, you sure picked a hell of a bad time. A hell of a wrong... You sure as hell are in the wrong place at the wrong time. Jeez, that was a hard thing to...
It's late. Stop hurting yourself.
I know. This was a good book. I liked it, and I like how, even though Superman doesn't have, full 100% powers, that Wonder Woman is still behind him and still swears that no matter what happens, she'll always be there to protect him. So I like that a little bit, even though I'm not really a huge fan of Superman, Wonder Woman, but I know my Superman is still married to Lois somewhere out there, and once somebody leaves DC and we go back to that universe, we'll just continue forward from there.
Martian Manhunter issue #1.
I thought you'd like this. That's why
I actually liked it, but the character I felt was a little like sort of like
the white alien.
Well, no. It starts off with the white alien in the beginning of the story that's trying to know about what good people were, which then leads into the Martian Manhunter book, and the artwork was really great, I have to admit that. And, he's stopping this whole terrorist attack that happened, and there's someone saying that the embassy has begun, and he wants, how do you say his name? John?
Yeah.
Yeah, to turn the planet red, because the embassy is coming. Meanwhile, Superman, Cyborg, and the Flash are find out that there's war zones that are erupting, and he calls everyone, and Superman's a little bit concerned about Jean as well. And then we get a little bit of a, I forgot what her name was, that, I think, Karmic? And she sees something weird happening, that someone gets killed, and then he just runs out, and she runs out for her life. There's this detective work that Jean, when he disguised himself as another person, about this little boy who killed his mother, and he actually knows about the embassy that's coming, and yeah, it looks really, really bad, this embassy, and John is just going to Helen Demoff, saying that, I need you to kill me because people have been saying like he's a monster and stuff like that, and lots of other stuff that's going on. So that's really something. And then we go back to the white alien that just eats the biscuits, and then the next issue says the Manhunter versus Superman. So I think with the whole war zones that's erupting, I think that they think maybe that he's behind this because of the whole turning the planet red with the whole embassy, but the story was actually really something, but it's just a character. I didn't think that he would like turn it red for the reason of the embassy coming. I don't know, but it's good for me to say I'll be coming back for the next issue.
Justice League of America issue #1. Now this is kind of separated from what's going on in the current, right now, DCU. Superman, apparently it opens up with something going on Earth, and Superman failing, the world explodes, and then Superman disappears somewhere. We go into present day, which apparently this is the future, or we get it explained to us later. Present day, Superman actually gets an invitation to a place called Infinity Incorporated, and he uses his X-ray vision and notices his S inside the card, so he visits. He's not happy because, obviously, in this book, the world doesn't know Clark Kent is Superman yet or at all. And he wants to know how they know, why they know, and what the purpose of them calling him is. And then he walks past a room with 1,000 dead Supermen. And he's like, what's going on? And his patience is starting to slowly wear thin. And then he gets introduced to this character, Vincent, Superman from the very beginning of the book that was dying, shows up. He somehow gets teleported to the present. And he tells present-day Superman, don't trust him. But who is him? We don't know. Is he talking about Vincent, or is he talking about somebody else who shows up at the end of the book? And Vincent's trying to explain to him that you just need to... There's a part with Aquaman 2. That's up to you guys to read. It was interesting, to say the least. Where, basically, he's telling Superman, just lay low for a while. Don't die. If you don't die, because apparently if Superman dies and then everything ends. So if Superman doesn't die, everything probably won't end. Or that's what basically he's giving to Superman, or what he's telling Superman. And then the rest of the Justice League show up at Metropolis, Clean Energy Power Plant. They all got invitations to something. Batman knows it's a trick, and then it turns out it was a trap. They all knew it, and it was a trap against Parasite. And a big fight breaks out, and things don't go well for them. And
they're bringing a lot of characters back, I'm telling you.
Oh yeah, it was a good fight too. And then Vincent tells Superman Parasite is at the clean. He says this is Metropolis Clean Energy Power Plant now, and Superman says
he
Parasite.
He absorbs the energy.
He says this isn't over. I'll be back. You see that something else is going on with Vincent because the girl says we should have told him everything. He's like, no, we all agreed it's not time, it's too risky. So something else is going on and we don't know what it is. The rest of the book is them fighting Parasite for a time and finally winning all the way through the book. This book was just basically, the rest of it was a big fight against Parasite, and things don't go very well. Wonder Woman disappears, Flash and Hal Jordan disappear, and we don't know where they went. So all that's left is Cyborg, Batman, and Superman. They go back to Metropolis, to where Infinity Inc. apparently what was, and now it's gone out of nowhere. And that's when the end of the book happens, and this has been spoiled everywhere by now, so I'm not really going to be risking any spoilers here. Apparently the great god Rao shows up at the end of the issue, and he's like, I am the great god Rao and I have come to save you. Maybe this is the person that the future Superman said not to trust. We don't know. But I don't believe Rao is there to help, and I think this is going to lead into some huge stuff by the end of this this story arc. Great first issue, $5.99 though. It's a bit of a steep price.
That is, wow.
For a first issue, I believe it goes down to $3.99 after this.
How much time we got left?
But
oh well, that just answered my question.
You answered your question. So Justice League of America, I would definitely recommend. As a read for this week, even though it's $5.99, it's well worth the money. The fight against Parasite was awesome. Alright guys, give us just 1 second and we will move into our Marvel books and the end of this comic book review. Alright, we're back, and Mike, you're starting off with Marvel this week.
Yep, and that's The Last Days of Magneto, issue number 19. In this book, it was more focused on Magneto and Brer in this, but we still see that there's this big incursion that happens in the city where Magneto and Wanda, his daughter, are just fighting off against the robots that are coming into the city. And the artwork was pretty good. It's still a little bit sketchy. And, you know, it just goes back in time where, you know, they're just trying to find out more about... oh, what's his name? Like, he's trying to find out more about a certain person of some type that he's trying to look for that has a strong batch of mutant growth hormone things, because he's looking about mutant things, Magneto. And it just keeps going back and forth, like to the incursion, and then back to him and Brer. And I think that Brer really gets into the mind of Magneto. Like, she knows, like, different things to, how to get to him. And, they go to Sugar Man with, other stuff that, he tells Magneto. If you want to find out more about that, read the book of, the power and whatnot. And then, at the end of the book, you know, things don't go right with the incursion, which then leads into how he knows something about Brave, saying that he wants to know who she really is. Because she might be a little fishy.
I lost interest in even hearing about this book.
I did, and I heard before that this book was going to end, and I keep seeing to be continued. So I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna read a little bit more to see if it does, but if it's more ongoing, then I'm probably gonna drop it because it's going like this a little bit towards the downhill. But it was. All
right, Act 3 of Empire of the Dead, issue number 3. 2 more issues to go, and then Empire of the Dead is over. In this issue, a lot happens, though. It's a lot of talking, very little action. But in this book, Paul is setting up the zombies, as I figured, to work together, and he's going to send the zombies after the prison, the people who are running the prison where the kids are, to save the kids. So he's using an army of zombies to stop the people working for the mayor, aka the vampires. He also goes to the head of police, the chief of police, and outs the mayor, saying that the mayor is a vampire. And the guy doesn't believe him. He's like, okay, fine, I'm going to give you an address. And he gives him the address and says, there's a rat blood facility there. And what they do is they put blood in the drinks, and that's what the mayor is drinking. You know, in other words, to out them. And, of course, he goes there, finds out that, that Paul was telling the truth, and he goes after the mayor. Other stuff's going on in the background with the people who are bombing the city, and another group of people who are... I honestly lost interest in them halfway through the book, to be honest with you. They're kind of like background people, in my opinion. I thought they'd be fleshed out after Act 1. Personally, I find their stuff ignorable, because they really don't interact with the main characters like Paul or Penny or anybody. They're just the reason why explosions are going on in the city, and they're after the big money. So I guess it's another story arc within the story, and I just don't care about it. So when the mayor gets outed, he runs off and disappears, and now he's got like some type of a contingency plan or an emergency plan. So he's leaving, or he's going somewhere. We don't know where. And that's where you left off. The mayor has been outed. They now know the mayor is a vampire. At least the police know it now. Paul's going to go save the kids, and there's a lot of bombing and crazy stuff going on all over the city, so we'll see. It's all coming to a head very soon. 2 more issues. Next issue is going to really set up the big finale of Empire of the Dead.
Deadpool's Secret Wars, issue number 2. This one I found to be actually a little bit funny, actually, in this one, but as an okay issue, which was pretty good. It just goes to Battle World, where we see Wade Wilson as a regular person fighting off against this lizard of some type, and then we get into a few days earlier where the Professor is telling the X-Men team that we need to join Magneto. Spider-Man comes in and is not too keen about that, of them joining Magneto, and we have a interesting fight scene between Spider-Man and Deadpool. And you know me, I always root for Spider-Man in any fight, in any way. And he gets Deadpool, and Deadpool has like this shield where it makes like all these funny things, and the Professor Xavier managed to erase Spider-Man's memory of their encounter, of that ever happening. And then it just goes back one more time to Wade Wilson with the lizard. So if you want to find out more about that, read the book. So they're going to, you know, join Magneto and stuff like that. And they have a little bit of a rock problem that falls on top of them. And Deadpool finds a way to get into the Hulk's mind to keep him from holding it. And then as Deadpool goes to this woman, what was her name? That's a healer. She actually does something to Deadpool, which was to heal his face.
And body.
Yeah, and the body. And I like when he says that they have a long, happy life ahead of them, where this picture shows different. And that's really something. So
I like the next cover.
Yeah, the next preview cover to Deadpool looks cool. But it was pretty good. It was funny in some ways, but I'll keep hold to it and see how the story will play out for that.
Alright, Armor Wars issue number 2. Roadie is now, or the Thor, is on the case to try to figure out what happened to Peter Urich, or who killed him. And it actually opens up with them at the autopsy, and we find out what happens if you ever take off the armor in Armor City, or what's it called, Techtropolis, and basically that happens. So you can never take your armor off in this city, or you'll die. So now they do the autopsy, and we get a little bit more on what's her name, Lila, and how she's taking it. She's not taking it well. She's kind of on the verge of a nervous breakdown. We've got Arno, who is trying to sneak into Lily's or Lila's factory, figure out what she's doing, and steal her technology for himself and the Kingpin so they can reign supreme over Tony Stark. Because right now Tony, or Baron Stark, holds all the marbles. He can basically close Arno's business down and get rid of the Kingpin as well, but he's not doing it, obviously, because he loves his brother. So they attack, and honestly, Lila makes quick work of the spy that Arno sends her way, and really that's all we get with this. This issue, really not much happens except Arno making an attempt to get Lila's technology, and then it ends with Iron Man talking with Roadie or Jim. If you want to call him Jim, we call him Jim. And Jim says, we're still really digging, but it turns out that Spider-Man might have found out who is the reason why the infection is all over the city and why we're in armor every day and every night. So Spider-Man found something out, and somebody killed him for it. We just don't know who did it, because the person who killed Spider-Man, apparently it messed with his armor, and they're still decoding the armor to try to get that information from it, to see who the person is that attacked Spider-Man. But you know, it had to be somebody that works for Arno.
Alright, next is
really good book, though. I enjoyed it. I can't wait. The mystery is definitely unfolding really nicely, and I can't wait for the next issue.
Alright, this one this show is the Scotty Young cover of Squadron Sinister, issue number 1.
This I wasn't sure if we were going to like or not.
Well, there was a lot to take... Oh, it's a little ripped plastic.
Yeah,
there was a lot to take in this book. But the team that I saw, the Suprema Province, really reminds me of the Justice League, like Harbrian as Superman, Nighthawk like Batman, Whistler as like the Flash, and so on and so forth. And they're doing something called the annexation. Basically what that means is that they sort of kill, or actually give them mercy to the people. And they give like 12 hours of what happened after the whole annexation happened with the invasion. And it's just so much dialogue to take in. And there's this...
I have no clue what's going on in this book so far.
Well, Hyperion is basically...
Hyperion, yeah.
Yeah, he's like the leader of Utopolis. And he just... You know,
he's the leader of the squadron.
He is the leader of the squadron, but he's not like this nice person as we thought he was. And I really see some of these characters as like they're just not like heroes. They're just like more,
they're villains.
They're villains,
but trying to act like heroes.
More like anti-heroes. And then Iron Thor comes in to
I like the little nod here to some of the Justice League and Justice Society.
Yeah, that was actually something. And yeah, it's just the whole thing about you know, whatever Lord Doom commands you to do and stuff like that, because it is about Doom and everything. You know, you have to do that. But he actually gets killed, and we don't know by who, so Hyperion wants to find out who did this, along with trusting Richmond. Also, he has a fight with Dr. Zero, Hyperion. And Richmond actually gives the gun back to Hyperion because they thought that he wasn't going to do it. But apparently, the way we thought his character was, you know, how they don't really actually trust him, he has something in mind of killing Hyperion. And we don't know how, really. Well, he's just saying he's going to kill him, that's it. And, yeah, the ending part of this was, I want to get her name right because I really do not want to mess it up of her name. Warrior Woman actually works for somebody that she doesn't want Hyperion to know. So everybody's keeping secrets from Hyperion because he's the leader and he would kill if he would ever find out if things don't go his way. But it's a lot to take in, but pretty good issue, I would say. So I'll come back for the next one.
Old Man Logan, issue number 2. This is the Gwen Stacy variant. I had to do it because I thought this cover was hilarious. But anyway, Old Man Logan gets to the top of his wall finally. In the last issue, we saw him climbing. This issue, he makes it to the top. And what does he see? He sees another world. And he's like, what the hell is this? And that's when one of the Thors shows up and says, what are you doing? What you're doing is forbidden. How did you do this? It's impossible. And he won't answer her. And she basically strikes him with lightning. And I guess he falls on the opposite side of the wall. And it turns out that the wall, or the side that he falls on, we find out what that is later. But apparently it's a side where all the X-Men are alive. He gets attacked by Sabretooth, and that's when the X-Men show up to save him. Emma Frost from this world enters his mind, and she's trying to get the lowdown on who he is, because in his mind, he's Logan. He's Wolverine, and he killed all the original X-Men. If you read Old Man Logan, you'll know the story arc. Really good story. I recommend it. He comes out of his dream, and basically he's saying, I am Logan. But because all the worlds are walled off, they don't know there are other versions of themselves out there. So they're having a hard time believing that this is Wolverine, because to them, he's not Wolverine. They have their own Wolverine. So that's when Sabretooth attacks again. And Magneto gets pissed off thinking that it's Wolverine's fault, or Old Man Logan's fault, that Sabretooth found them and they're attacking. So he kind of, because Wolverine's made of adamantium, he shoots Old Man Logan out of the mansion, and he ends up landing right in front of, spoiler alert, Apocalypse. So apparently Old Man Logan is in the Apocalypse part of the Age of Apocalypse part of Battle World. Will he get out of the Age of Apocalypse? Probably. This was a really good book, but really, as fast as I explained it is as fast as I read it. He got over the wall. One of the Thors tried to stop him, or tried to kill him. It didn't work. He fell on the wrong side of the wall. Instead of falling back to his part of the wall, he fell to the other side, and now he's stuck in the Age of Apocalypse. And the people there can't understand that he's Logan, and he can't understand how they're alive. So it's kind of like, okay, what the hell is going on? So finally, a lot of the books are looking outside of the boundaries of their, just their world.
Yeah, you thought of giving this book to me.
I had too many to read.
Runaways issue number 1. I wasn't really a Runaways fan because you read Runaways.
I didn't read Runaways.
Oh, I thought you did read.
Somebody else read Runaways.
Oh well, basically, in Runaways, it's just about these kids in the school. We have Sandra Strand, Jubilation Lee, Megan Gwen, and other characters.
Amadeus Cho, and
we have Molly Hayes, who is
Molly Hayes is one of the original.
Yeah, she's really something in this book.
Cloak and Dagger, Tanny, and
yeah, basically
Tyrone.
it's all these people here.
It's tons of different characters from tons of different
and I think Bucky
universes.
is the principal there.
I think so.
Yeah, because we do see Bucky in this book, and we get this whole thing of how Tyrone.
Yeah.
Yeah. How he got into the detention because everybody's in detention, and they're looking to take this final exam, and they can't be late for it.
Pixie.
Yeah, and they can't be late for it because it's like really important. And this woman thinks, you know, many of them are going to fail because of all that. And the registration's at 4 o'clock, so with them in detention, you know. And how they got into detention was because there was a fight that actually broke out into the hallway of the sparring that happened a few things ago, and then just everything happens, and here is Bucky, who appears in this issue, and just stops all this.
Is he the principal? I don't think he's the principal. I think he's one of the kids.
Oh. Well, he was actually just saying, you know, all of you with me, you head straight to the corrections room for the rest of the day, and for him to say that, I thought he was maybe the principal. And then that's how all that happened. So, his name really escapes me right now. I think Cho. Amadeus Cho.
Amadeus Cho.
Cho actually reprograms the robot because the robot's not letting them leave, and he reprograms them to say that, you know, you're free to go, so that way they could get to that registration thing early, which they actually do make it on time. And meanwhile, the robot gets, you know, what's that thing? Destroyed because of all that. And we get a little bit of this character here, Valeria
Von Doom, which is really Valeria Richards, which apparently when Doom took over the world, or became the god of Battle World, he basically redid everything where Sue Storm marries him, and they have Valeria. I don't know what happened to Franklin, though.
Yeah, but wow, that issue was really good. They're really all average. Like, there's not really a favorite. It's just all average for Marvel.
Final book this week, and it's another Gwen cover. Thors issue #1. Finally, we get to see the Thors. And it opens up with one of the greatest cases ever. 5 women dead in 1 week from 5 different parts of the world. And we later on in this book find out that they're all the same woman. So whoever this person is, they're looking to kill all of the same woman from every reality. And it opens up as like a regular case, and you get to see Beta Ray Bill. It turns out that the ultimate Thor is like the main Thor. They call him Leaf, I believe, if I'm saying it right. Trying to remember how they said his name. I know that what's his name? Beta Ray Bill said his name. But they're in Weird World at this moment, and you can see that some of the Thors don't get along very well together. Here we go. I'm trying to get this guy's name for the life of me, and it's not showing up. I know they mentioned it like a million times. It's just not coming to it. I'm not finding it. Anyway, Beta Ray Bill and Ultimate Thor, I'll call him that until I find the name, are working together on this, and they're at the basically they're at the point right now where if they don't solve this case very quickly, Doom is going to take interest in it, and that's bad because that's when Thors start losing their hammers. And it's Beta Ray Bill and Ultimate Thor's hammers that are on the line. Really awesome artwork, I will say that. But they start doing some research. You got Ultimate Thor, who's looking into the 5 dead women. Again, we go into another like autopsy where we find out that the 5 women are the same woman from all 5 parts of the world. However, Beta Ray Bill has a resource. I don't want to say whom, but this person is able to give him a little bit of extra knowledge that he finds from the streets. However, it's at the cost of Beta Ray Bill's life, because something happens to Beta Ray Bill in the end, and the only word that he utters, the only name that he utters before he dies, is Jane Foster. To be continued. This book was really good. I really like Ultimate Thor being the spotlight Thor, because obviously the 616 Thor right now isn't Thor. Jane Foster was. Now this story, somebody named Jane Foster is either being killed or the perpetrator. We don't know. We don't know. All we know is the word or the name Jane Foster. I am definitely hooked on Thors all the way through till the end. I'm 100% sure that this is going to obviously end after Secret Wars, and we're going to go right back to Jane Foster Thor. Not a fan of that. Probably won't be reading that, but I will be sticking with the Thors all the way through until the end. And a little bit of a extra old Thor is actually the head of the Thor Corps, so to speak. Really good stuff. I enjoyed Thors. I would definitely recommend that from Marvel this week for your number ones. With that, that's it for this review, guys. Tried to make it as brief as possible. As always, don't forget to check out comic-related, Comic Frontline, Zone 4 Podcast, and Frontline Gaming Zone. Together, we are your number one source for comic-related news, reviews, and a whole bunch more. And hopefully, we'll see you guys tomorrow for the comic book haul, and everything will slowly come back on time.
Surely.
Yes, because we only have 6 episodes to go before 300, and that's going to be a humongous episode. So until then, guys, take care, keep reading, keep collecting. We'll see you guys really soon in the next review.
Later, everybody.